love podcasts ain't nonsense. The Politics Joe podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Goddamn right. Goddamn right.
Sure is.
Ed Campbell.
Hello.
Dragon Boy.
Yes, that's me. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you.
Good.
Did you say your name? I've noticed we don't really introduce ourselves on the podcast.
I
very
introduce
often.
you guys. No one says my name.
But you're just unnamed narrator.
Well, it's because Politics Joe. Je suis.
Yeah, first name.
Ava Santina.
Hi.
How are you?
A lot better.
Yeah? Feeling better?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the editor of the last video that we did here. So every time that I either wipe my nose or I sneeze, it's on camera.
Yeah, I think that was me.
Yeah, I was
There's a
thinking
point
you
where I
edited
sneeze
it
and you get the whole thing. What the?
in slow-mo, in perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to say that I spent a lot of time editing that, but I really just in-point, out-point,
Absolutely.
and export.
It's gotta be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one point where I go, okay, don't look at me. I'm just going to like blow my nose. And the camera's like...
Someone rushed in to adjust the lens.
Yeah.
Hard zoom in.
That was me. How was everyone's weekend?
They were good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They were good. You speaking for Ava as well?
Yeah, why not?
Ed doesn't talk to us on the weekend.
Yes, I do.
Oh, no, we did actually this week.
Yeah, you texted me yesterday.
Yeah, I did.
And I replied.
You texted me on Saturday night as well. I was so confused when I read that the next morning because I'd forgotten I replied to you.
Oh, God.
And I was like, what's that?
Yeah, no, they were good. I won a pub quiz last night. Brag.
Mega mind over here.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Sure did. Yeah, £75 bar tab, not to be.
Oh, wow.
sniffed at.
That is not
It used to be
be.
50 quid in cash. And which between like 6 of you, that's actually like a pretty annoying amount. So what we used to do was we'd go to the nearest London cocktail club and have a 2-for-1 cocktail. But we couldn't do that because it was £75 bar tab. So
what, you just drank in the bar you were in? That
no,
seems
because
more
the
convenient.
last orders were like 5 to 10. It was bizarre.
But that means you drink for free at the next pub quiz, yeah?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Where is it?
I don't know, let these freaks know. I'll tell you off camera. I don't want to be inundated.
When do you think they're going to follow you there?
Yeah, probably. Let me enough
The
news
Ed
about
heads.
me. The Ed heads are going to be
They are
filling
legion.
out.
They're legion.
Yeah,
They'll be there.
Yeah.
absolutely, definitely. And then they might win. That'd be embarrassing.
Oh, you don't want to pollute
No,
the pub quiz pool.
That
Yeah.
would be really funny if someone turned up just to troll you in the pub quiz.
Yeah,
Like the beast from the
incredible.
chase.
Yeah.
I will have my vengeance for his lukewarm left-wing takes.
They're called like Pole Jonathan. Like,
Oh God. Yeah, no, that would be great. How was everyone else's weekend? Did you
Good.
win any quizzes?
No, I inhaled too much lead.
Oof.
I didn't have the recommended daily amount of lead. I had too much lead.
Oh no.
Yeah, so that was good. Stripping the paint off a banister.
You texted me as well the weekend. Asked about SWG. Oh, there's a lie. Eva just lied about how much we all talk to each other at the weekend.
It is a rarity for me to text you the weekend.
Yeah,
It's a rarity for me to text you full stop. I hate talking to you.
that's fair. I don't know why you continue to employ me then. But how was the radio?
Good, yeah, it's all right.
Did you talk about SWG3?
I did, yeah.
That's what Ollie texted me to ask about SWG3, the club in Glasgow.
Yes, someone died after being at a rave on New Year's Day at SWG3. There's been 3 deaths there in the last 4 months, actually. Two 18-year-olds, drug-related, and they're not sure whether this most recent one is. So, yeah, heavy story.
Very heavy.
Not the sort of thing we usually open this podcast with, but,
No.
but there we go.
well, I had a big crane outside mine all weekend.
Good pivot.
They shut the road.
Yeah.
And it was the biggest crane you've ever seen. It was parked like right outside my front door.
The biggest.
It was so big. I reckon it was like, I'm going to go with 25 stories high. It was so big.
Was there a lift attached to it, or did the person have to climb up?
But what?
How does the driver get up?
Yeah, like a ladder in the middle.
Oh,
25 stories
I
on a
don't
ladder.
know, but they were moving it last night.
Light work for me, mate.
me on the ladder machine.
They were moving it last night, and that's one of 5 pieces of it. Can you see it?
It is quite substantial.
It's a really big crane.
Do you have a building that requires a 25-story
They're building
crane?
a building.
Next to it.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool. I was just standing outside on Saturday morning like, look at that.
Would you like to be a crane driver?
No.
Lonely.
I'd love to go up a crane. Do you remember that story? I feel like I was in school when it happened. Someone sleptwalked to the end of a crane.
What? Oh, come off it.
Yeah, they climbed up. It was in their sleep.
That doesn't pass the bullshit test. In their sleep,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
climbed to
they
the
slept-
top
they
and
slept-
then
Oh,
the
no.
end of a crane.
Yeah.
How did they circumnavigate the security measures?
Do you know, I can actually tell you, from that crane being outside my house, if I'd wanted to get on that crane yesterday, I could have done.
Why didn't you?
I told you, 2005, sleepwalker found snoozing on crane. Told you.
That's just, and we believe him. We believe this intruder.
A
Oh,
teenage...
I just woke up in.
Oh my god!
They're like shimmying down the crane to He's like closing his eyes, pretending to be asleep.
He's about to roll
Sir,
over.
please come here. You'll have to come and get me.
It's like the people building the Rockefeller
Yeah.
Center sitting on the beam. He's fast asleep, like proper like Ebenezer Scrooge hat thing.
Teenage girl rescued after being found fast asleep on the arm of a 130-foot crane above the ground.
That's so much more suspicious than just sleepwalking. Surely that's like a botched
How
murder.
would you ever sleep again? Nothing.
It's too risky.
You might just wake up at the end of a fucking crane.
You wake up and you're base jumping.
It would be,
It's also what if you're a restless sleeper? It'd be a nightmare.
you ever slept walked?
No, never. Has
You
anybody?
strike me as someone who might sleep talk.
I don't think I do necessarily.
A little.
How would he know?
Yeah.
True, actually. Well, no one has ever told me that's sleep talk. I don't think.
I was sleep like groaning.
Good.
After the Christmas when I did like 5 shows in a row on LBC and I was absolutely knackered. I was
You were taking calls.
Peter, what do you want to say? No. I was asleep in my in-laws' living room and I was like just nodding off.
You don't
like,
even get a
watching
bed
TV. No, it's like 11 a.m. And every time I was like falling asleep, I was just going like, and they all found it fucking hilarious. They didn't stop me. They were just sat there watching, laughing at me.
In fairness, that's really funny.
I came to and they're all staring. You know, when you wake up and there's like 5 people staring at you.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure that's something we all have a great deal of experience.
You know when you wake up, you're at the end of a crane, 5 people staring
there's
at
5
you.
police officers stood over you. They know what to do.
Wake up!
Have we done your weekend? Have we done that yet? Should we move on to the?
We've covered the
should
crane,
we-
yeah.
Yes.
What do we all think about dry January?
Well,
For wet cunts, isn't it?
Yeah, we've enough. I think we've already got too many not drinking festivals. We've got Sober October. We've got Ramadan.
Sorry. You know that's not just a Ramadan thing, right? You know, that's just being Muslim.
No, it's but they don't drink. They don't drink during it. So Eid.
Don't you drink during Eid?
No, if you're celebrating Eid, you don't drink.
Oh fuck! You know what? I love
A
you.
lot of people do.
I genuinely love you. You know that. No pre-discussion before the podcast. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do the Islam jokes. Don't prepare yourself.
I think that was a fine Islam joke. To be honest with you, I wouldn't have said it. Don't have the guts otherwise.
You've got the potential now to get a GB News slot. If
yeah.
The most mild GB news.
You can't say that anymore. Can't say that.
You can't say they don't drink during Ramadan anymore.
Do you think it's a joke?
Do I think it's what Islam? No. No, I don't think Islam's a joke.
I'd love to see people just quietly not drink and not tell people about it. That's fine.
Yeah.
You've been experimenting with sobriety recently.
Yeah, just drink less, but I don't like make it a whole thing. Saying that, I'm actually quite hungover today. So maybe that's why I'm so against dry January. But it's kind of like, it's like...
Did you drink at the pub quiz?
Yeah. I had 3 pints in it. Fucked me up more than you think it would.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you say you're having a wet January?
Extremely.
But making it fucking rain over here.
But I think it's also as well, because people just do dry January and they just drink as much as they did before. So it's not going to do 4 weeks of not drinking is just like going to be, you're almost like punishing yourself if you enjoy it.
I think, and I'm not talking about the extremes of this with people who actually have a problem with alcohol, but I do think that there is something quite odd about having to tell all of your family and friends that you're not drinking right now. Just don't do it.
I think it does highlight the kind of how ubiquitous drinking is in British society. Is the fact, like, as I'm sure you will have noticed, spending a bit of time not drinking, the amount of time you will say to someone, "No, I'm not," or "Oh, actually, no, I'm not going to come to the pub because I'm not drinking." It is fucking everywhere. It's so much of the socialising we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't have to drink there. That's the...
No, but I suppose the other thing is, I suppose in a pub, it is less fun to be in a pub when you're not drinking versus like being in someone's living room.
What if there is a chessboard available?
Okay, well that's more fun.
Could be the top of a crane, put a chessboard there, have a fucking great time.
But that's a different set of circumstances. Then you're there to play chess, and then that's diverting. But if you're just like sitting having a chat, and you're not drinking, it's preferable to do that in like someone's living room rather than just like...
No.
No?
No.
No?
What?
Do you not like going to your friends' houses?
No.
Really?
I prefer to go to the pub.
This fucking podcast.
I prefer, no, but I would prefer to go to the pub always. There's only one friend I have where I like going to her house, but because we sit in silence comfortably, you know?
I think that's the mark of true friendship, you know?
Going to someone's house?
Yes, and I'm still waiting.
Ding dong!
No, being able to sit in each other's company and not say anything.
Yeah.
We should experiment with that on the podcast.
Yeah.
Listeners, we've just got
An hour. Could you imagine if we sat here for an hour?
45 minutes of silence to prove how good friends we are.
Who cracks first? Me. I would have to say something about myself, probably. I went to, speaking of me, I went to an incredible pub on Saturday night. Did you see the picture of the till that I posted?
No.
Oh my God. This pub, it was the pub in Ashes to Ashes.
I don't remember the pub in Ashes to Ashes. I watched it, but I don't remember it.
They filmed there. Look at this till.
Oh, wow.
I can see that you've written "Don't say anything." You don't like the till? Can you not? I hate this. Please, can you stop? Why are you doing this? Losing my mind.
This is not the way I thought that would go. To be honest, I thought you'd just keep talking about the till.
This is really uncomfortable.
This is like, you've got, your sister's younger than you, isn't she?
She is.
Did you used to just like annoy her because you could?
I once made my sister jump out of a moving car. I was already displaying like evil mastermind shit. I was like 6.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How old was she?
4.
Oh my.
I had an elasticated like eye patch that I was pinging and releasing into her leg in the back of the car. I think we were leaving school, and I drew it back. I was like, "I will do this unless you jump out of the car." And she fucking just opened the door and teed out.
How fast was the car going?
Oh, can't have been any more than 20 miles an hour.
Oh my.
Probably less.
But that felt very like annoying your sister vibes. What was you did to Ava?
Well, it was more. I was hoping you would pick up on it as a bit, because when Ava said, "Oh, you won't," I'll just fill the silence. I thought it'd be funny if we just left the silence.
Yeah,
for her to
no,
fill.
true. But you did, like, with no subtlety, grab a Sharpie and write the
I
instruction
did actually
on the...
try and communicate it to you by hand signs, but you didn't see.
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Yeah.
My BSL isn't great.
Makes me feel really Makes me feel well respected as a colleague. So on this one, you've ignored me. On the last podcast, you said, "I'm the most annoying person you know with a Twitter account."
Yeah. Doesn't look great. You might be getting another suspension on it.
What?
You're suspended for that. It was a joke from last podcast, but...
I can recuse myself. I can step aside if you guys want to
No.
pod.
No, should we do some stuff that we've written down
I think we probably should.
rather than riff for... Any more Islam jokes?
Laura, have you got any?
I'm really impressed that you decided to do that.
Yeah, I thought of it last night and been thinking about it.
Is that when you set it up and said, "Is it with anyone doing Dry January?"
Yeah,
that was set up for your
set up
fucking hell.
for a
Wow.
joke last night when I was drinking 3 beers. Like, this is
What do you
great.
think? They don't do this on Ramadan.
They don't know what they're missing out on.
Okay then, Joey Barton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't been able to move for his tweets over the last couple of weeks.
yeah. They're attacking you in real life.
It's because I am a straight white man, and therefore I am under attack, as he famously tweeted. What do we make of that as a line of argument?
He's a straight white man and he's under attack. I think, ultimately, if you are an ex-footballer and you can't even get a token role as professional controversy merchant on TalkSport, you must be the least pleasant person to work with of all time. Think about like Jamie O'Hara is a regular on TalkSport. Joey Barton played at a much higher level of football than Jamie O'Hara did, and Jamie O'Hara is regular on TalkSport, and Joey Barton must be like a nightmare to work with. So if you're trying to get this as your only source of income, then
The kind of thing I think with him is he failed as a manager, right? He got sacked from Bristol Rovers, sacked from Fleetwood. Is this just a grift?
yeah,
Is it
I think so.
that simple?
I think so. I think it's quite. If all of a sudden in the past 2 months, if that, we've not really heard anything from Joey Barton, not football related, and now he's like, shit, I need some attention. So I'm going, was it the James English podcast he went on? Was that the beginning of it?
Yeah.
Where he talks about his brother getting into a scrap.
Oh my god!
When he was involved in his brother was involved in a racist murder. So,
Yeah, they his brother and his mate. There was a young black guy called Anthony Walker, who was walking home one of his friends to the bus stop, and they shouted the N-word at him and chased him, and they buried an ice axe in his head so hard that the doctors couldn't remove it. They struggled to remove it up to the hilt. Anthony died in hospital a day later, and for that, Joey Barton's brother did 17 years in prison. And Joey Barton spoke about that on the James English podcast, and he referred to it as getting in a scrap. He said his brother had lost 17 years of his life as a result of some idiot bringing an ice axe to a scrap. I think that tells you all you need to know, really, about the character of someone like Joey Barton, doesn't it? And it's kind of ironic, actually, that he's going off talking about how white men are under attack when his brother literally did 17 years in prison for a racist attack.
yeah.
It kind of illustrates the stupidity of what he's saying, I think.
It's difficult to engage with because he is just operating so outside the realms of reason. That is the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever heard. I
Yeah.
don't even know how to respond to it.
And I suppose also, he's looking for people to engage with him to engage back with. So there's every chance he could take the three of us, slacking him off, and then use that for his own ends and be like, well, these three softy liberals don't understand the plight of regular white men, and repackage it. I think it becomes like a snake eating its tail at some point. I think recognizing and saying there's two facets of it, and that he embodies, or he's trying to embody, like an underclass almost of like maligned white men. It's the same kind of side of the coin of like Minister for Men kind of speak, but in a much more controversial, like extreme way. So there's that element of it, but then there's also he's just being a controversy merchant to get appearances on the media for which he'll receive a fee, and he's also launching a podcast.
Yeah,
as well.
I mean,
That's an important thing.
that's
That's an important thing to
the key
it's
thing,
the whole
isn't
thing's
it?
an advert for his podcast.
Yeah.
It's so painfully transparent. All of the comments on female pundits. It's actually just quite. He's not saying anything new.
No.
We've heard this many times before, but then I think it's the sort of complex that happens to a lot of these men who suddenly eat themselves on a public forum, and it's that they have been set up to succeed in the industry that they are operating in, but they have failed at it. So as you said, so he hasn't been a successful manager and he hasn't been a successful commentator. He's failed. So he looks around and he goes, well, why the hell are they able to do it? It must be not because I'm not very good, but it must be because there's some of...
It's like he can't... his own inadequacy could not possibly be an explanation for it. Like he can't cope with or accept that fact, you know. And I'm assuming as well, if you play football at like an elite level, you probably get pretty used to thinking you are like the bee's knees, absolutely everything. So then when you can't make it as a manager and when you can't make it as a commentator or a pundit, you're left going, well, you know, well, it must be because I'm a white bloke, you know, rather than actually it's because you're not very good. You're not good at managing. You're not very interesting to listen to. I don't know. Did you watch? He did when this all first started a couple of months ago. He did like an interview. Piers did him, and I watched it before doing this, and it's actually quite painful listening to him speak.
Really?
Yeah. I find it bizarre because I don't know if you remember. He did Question Time. I think it might have been about 10 years ago, and he was like a people's philosopher. Yes,
kind of
literally.
vibe.
He was giving. People were like, he's like some kind of fucking philosopher king, right? And actually, when you watch back that performance, he says something like that voting for UKIP is like effectively like pulling the ugliest girl in the club, or like after you've been rejected 4 times, or something like that. It probably got away with making remarks like that because it was kind of in that sort of noughties, early teens, sort of like lad culture, entry level fucking
Dapper laughs.
Yeah, misogyny shit. But actually, the
Good
signs...
forum for it, Question Time.
And I mean, I guess that you could see that the signs were there about that kind of entry level Key Stage 1 type sexism then. But then I was watching him do Piers recently, and he couldn't answer a question. You know, it was like Piers would ask him something, and he would say his answer would just have nothing to do with the question that he was asked.
He does seem to be really out of his depth in a conversation.
Talking.
Yeah. The waking hours.
In a sentence of more than 4 words.
Yeah.
It's an interesting point, Ed, the one you were making about kind of the attention economy around this, and like how it becomes a cycle, snake eating itself. And I saw, Ava, you said something similar on Twitter as well at the weekend. And I'm sort of in 2 minds about talking about him, because I think on the one hand, you're absolutely right. You know, the more you talk about him, the more you're giving him what he wants, right? You're giving him the attention. You're fulfilling that, like, you know, Joey Barton exists and he's got a podcast coming out. And also, if people didn't know he was saying this stuff, you're also signposting the fact that he is saying it out there. But I also think it's important to sort of engage critically with people who say things like that, because, you know, there are other people out there who want to sort of understand what the arguments are or how to combat someone who's saying that sort of thing. It's sort of I don't necessarily know what the answer is, but I just sort of wanted to provoke that question and open a conversation about sort of the place for talking about things like that when they say it.
Well, I think you're better placed to answer that. I'm kind of oscillate between what you're saying and starving him of oxygen. He just seems to have an inexhaustible surplus of time. He's just...
Well, he's been sad. He's not busy. He's got no football to coach.
You know how they were like, I don't know, like Stephen Hawking was just experiencing time differently. You know, he was just experiencing more hours in the day. Like, that's him, but on Twitter. Because I'm on Twitter a lot, and I'm like, how have you knocked out 11 think pieces before 9 a.m.?
Is it a think piece when you're calling Eni Aluko Rose West?
It's also...
She shouldn't have killed all those children, should she?
There's actually a scourge of child murderers being employed by ITV.
No one's saying anything about it.
Could you imagine if he was actually blowing the whistle on this? he like 20 years down the line, Operation Nutri, it's actually true. Eni Aluko is a serial killer. Barton tried to tell us and we didn't listen.
We didn't listen. The ITV was giving her tens of children.
Feeding her children.
Yeah, that's actually what the relation was. It's also, if it's not that, what is the metaphor there? Like, were Fred and Rose West, they're bad people.
Football pundits.
They probably weren't very good football pundits.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what he's saying.
Dreadful football pundits.
Is it not that they're murdering the broadcasts? That's what he's trying. That's what he's doing there.
Yes, it's not great. It's not brilliant. Don't know, literature, is it?
But yeah, it's actually not a bad metaphor when you really break it down. He probably didn't mean that at all.
Oh, this is the Rose West of dinners.
Yeah.
This is absolutely... Oh!
But they won't tell you that. They won't let you say that anymore.
That date was an absolute Rose West. That was awful. Oh, I fretted it. I absolutely fretted it.
Didn't he change the serial killer?
What?
He said it wasn't Rose West anymore, it was someone else.
What, like the Moors murderer or something? Or are they the Moors murderers?
No, that's Sutcliffe, isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
All of these fantastic characters in Gavin and Stacey.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good Easter egg. All the characters' names are...
Blew
murderers'
my
names.
dad's mind over Christmas.
Shipman.
It's a good one.
He actually sat up. He sat up and went, oh my God. Yeah.
Do they have a Harold Shipman character?
Gavin
Yeah.
Shipman. Gavin's surname is Shipman.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And then the Dawn, she's Sutcliffe, right?
I think
Dawn
so.
and Pete are Sutcliffe.
That's on the nose. His name's Pete Sutcliffe.
Yeah. No one got that. No one got it.
What's Stacey's surname?
Shipman, when she
Oh,
comes.
her maiden name.
Are they the Wests?
It could be. That sounds right.
No.
Kissinger. Stacey, the Golden State Killer.
The Zodiac Killer. Stacey Zodiac. Why? Is it just an English? I'm going completely off piece here. Is it an English thing? This like obsession with serial killers. You know the way that like Fred and Rose West occupy. They certainly occupy like a large space in Twitter discourse. Like they are, for sure, they're there. And I wonder, is there something unique about that?
Not of course. Like think about the American true crime industrial complex.
Or the fact that they made a film about Ted Bundy in which Zac Efron starred in it. And people were like, oh, Ted Bundy, he was so attractive.
He's so sexy.
Such a shame about the murders.
He's so sexy. People used to...
I never thought that looking at the photos of Bundy.
But he's handsome.
I don't think... Is he handsome?
He's clean cut.
He doesn't look like Zac Efron, that's for sure.
No, but I suppose Zac Efron shouldn't be allowed to play anyone real then, because Zac Efron was much better looking than anyone he'd be playing.
You are far too handsome, sir.
But also the 70s hair, it does distort a man's face. It's very difficult to carry off that hair.
True.
Like, do you ever get the ick looking at, like, the guys from ABBA?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I guess. I've
Yeah.
never looked at the people in ABBA in that way.
But I can't think of them any other way.
They occupy a platonic space in
Well,
my
I can
mind.
only think, do they look like Ted Bundy or not? That's the
That's
only
a metric
thing.
that's a metric of a
Yeah.
man.
A self-defense mechanism. I saw over Zac Efron post. I didn't realise that he was in a film with Jeremy Allen White,
Yeah.
Iron Claw.
You love Jeremy Allen White. That's
Well-
the second time you've spoken about him today.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
fucking hell.
We all saw the Calvin
Yeah.
Klein advert.
We did see the Calvin Klein advert, but in Iron Claw, he's also topless and yoked
Uh-huh.
the
Bigger,
entire time.
Bigger, if anything.
Yeah.
It's insane the size they get for...
I'm not a big fan of yoked.
Not for you.
As a word, or do you mean on the masculine
No, you know,
body?
I mean, my type is mid and can
Just
write
mid.
well. Yeah.
Ugly men who write well. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend whose self-confessed preference for men is goblin men.
Who's a goblin man?
Well, I can't tell you now.
Like Jarvis Cocker?
Yeah, that would be a good example.
Yeah.
Do I know exactly what you're talking
Yes,
about?
you do. Yeah.
Okay.
No, sorry, my friend isn't you.
No, I know. Yeah.
Wait a minute, this sounds familiar.
Still on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I know who your friend is then.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. I think you know who the goblin person is as well, actually.
Okay, no idea. That's infuriating for the listeners.
It is, yeah. I don't know whether we include this segment or not, to be honest with you.
Uh-huh.
Is Joey Barton popular because, and when I say popular, because these tweets are getting like tens of thousands of likes, right? So do we chalk that up to being he's speaking for a silent majority? Do we chalk that up to fucking culture war bot accounts amplifying it in our timelines? Do we think that there is actually like a significant portion of people in society who are agreeing with what he has to say?
I think you have to recognise there are people who agree with the sentiment, but also recognise that there are people which I think Joey Barton is actually doing, who are willing to take advantage of the grievance politics for their own ends. I think that is a perfect storm of you recognise there's an audience for culture war nonsense, people who scream at the telly when they see a woman, and it's in any circumstance, not just in football, and realise that you could probably make quite a lot of cash from it.
But I was thinking earlier that there are people I don't like on TV as much as he doesn't like women on TV. but I have neither the time nor the will to tweet about it all the time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get very angry at certain Made in Chelsea people.
Yep.
Sam Prince, you're Fred West!
You are the Fred West of constructed reality television! You murdered season 16 of MIC!
Yeah. That's really like my... I wish I didn't have that, because it bothered... Whenever I see them on anything, like, I don't know, even Steph's packed lunch
Sam
on a
Prince is on
weekend,
Steph's packed
I'll be like, what the hell are they doing on there? But I wouldn't go to Twitter to talk about it.
Do you watch much linear TV?
No. I do. I catch things. I watch the Sunday shows, and then so I catch bits afterwards. You know. What about you?
No, I've become more normie. I put a TV in my bedroom recently, and so I'll often wake up and just sort of stick breakfast on. You know, in a way that, like, when, I don't know if you'd ever like stay over at one of your mates' houses on a school night, and then you'd go into the living room in the morning, and then the BBC breakfast would just be like, on the telly, because like the dad's been awake since 4:30 in the morning and sort of just left it on,
Screaming about women in football.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep!
That bloody Nagaman Chessie telling me about the news is disgusting! Disgusting!
Miriam should never have won Sports Personality of the Year!
And so I have become more normie in that way. But no, before, I never watched linear TV. Never.
Never in your whole life.
No, I did obviously when I was younger, but since I moved and sort of, it was all like, you know, on demand. It's Netflix.
I like going to my parents' house and watching linear television. It seems like a really like something I only do.
It's a throwback, isn't it?
Yeah.
It always feels safe.
I do that at my nan's.
When you get into like the 5 p.m. like game show, 2 hours. That's a good time.
Yeah.
This is on.
There's something very grandparent coded about like a really hot room, because they've got the winter fuel allowance. Like, extremely hot room and Emmerdale. Like,
You know, seemingly the target audience for BBC Two, if you're making a program for BBC Two, your target audience is like 69.
yeah.
It's 69ing as they're watching it. Sorry. The average age is 17.
But not during Ramadan.
Perhaps, I don't know. As long as they're not drinking.
I think that's the most dangerous thing you've ever done on Campbell, is introducing Ramadan jokes to this podcast.
I'm not introducing Ramadan jokes. Don't say it like that.
You did.
No, I didn't.
You did.
Not jokes.
If the fucking Supreme Leader puts a fatwa on us, it's your fault.
Oh, God.
Who's the Supreme Leader?
Ayatollah
Rose
Khomeini.
West.
This is see at the pub quiz last night. It was like there was a picture around, and it was like, who are these people? And one of them was Salman Rushdie, and but we were marking the thing. Someone put it was Pope Francis, and it wasn't. They a couple of times they put Pope Francis for an answer, and none of it was right.
What do you think that is? Do you think that's just that's like their safe word or something?
They saw a man with glasses. I think a bald man with glasses.
That's actually that's a really funny safe word. Pope
not.
Francis.
Who?
He's not white.
Who?
Salman Rushdie.
But Pope Francis is
As if like the
a tag-
defining thing about Pope Francis is that he has glasses.
But he's fairly like he's Argentinian, so he's not like super white. He's not like us.
Does he have an eye patch?
No,
Well,
I think if
presumably
you don't know
the
if you don't know who Salman Rushdie is, you're never
Yeah,
getting.
but you know who the Pope is. Surely.
But like I don't
Was
know.
it a recent photo of Salman Rushdie?
Yeah, you know,
if it had the eye
like
patch.
a covered eye thing. So I don't know. I really should have been. They also had their team name. I thought this was in poor taste actually, and I'm the I'm the arbiter of taste apparently on this podcast. It was like Oscar Pistorius is out party or something like that.
See, no, that's no.
No, you're not. No,
I don't like that.
no. I thought it was quite like.
Would you not go for Oscar Quistorius?
Yeah, that's what I disagreed with. That was my only issue with it.
I can't explain it, but I think it's perfectly fine to jest about Rose West, but it's not about Oscar Pistorius. And I don't know why is there a reason for that?
Time horizon?
Maybe.
Maybe because it was like, is it one's a tragedy and larger numbers of statistics?
What, and Rose West is not a tragedy?
No, but as in like, it's
Sorry, are you fucking quoting Stalin over here?
Yeah, I am. But as in like, the like.
Yeah, what about it?
Yeah. Well, you were alive for the Oscar Pistorius thing, and you know the story of Rena Steenkamp, whereas the friend Rose West was in the 70s. None of us were alive. We weren't there for like the fear element of it, like the news reporting of it. It's history.
Yeah,
think
so we're detached from it.
Yeah.
I'm actually a ginormous fan of an incredibly poor taste pub quiz name. Like, ideally, news story that week,
Yeah.
something deeply insensitive that the MC has to read out in the pub full of people. I have so much time for.
I agree with that, but I actually don't even think that's funny. Oscar Pistorius's
I've
jail
misremembered it. It was like something to do with Oscar Pistorius, but it was something in poor taste.
It's kind of like the Ricky Gervais furore that was. Have you watched it?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Did you like it?
I thought it was terrible.
I thought it was terrible.
Yeah.
And
I don't mean morally, I think it was like unfunny.
Yes,
Desperately
that's what I
unfunny.
mean. And it's like, okay, call me like sick, but I was thinking there's so much around this. This is going to be really funny. And it wasn't.
I think that's the really disappointing thing about him and Chappelle, both of their specials, is that, first of all, previously their material has been incredibly good. But I think both of them actually are better TV writers than they are stand-up comedians. But there are ways to do jokes about race, about trans rights, about whatever, that don't make fun of the actual people themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You can there are ways to be funny about it that don't involve you mercilessly targeting someone with less power than you. Although I'm actually entirely unsure about whether the power dynamic is the most relevant thing. But nonetheless, neither of the specials did that. I thought it really was like the most entry level. Chappelle had jokes about like disabled people at his gigs, and one of them was like they sit at the back because that's where they wheel. It's just like, oh, that's where disabled people sit.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, that's incredibly funny, you know.
It's bizarre, just odd punching down. Have you watched Shane Gillis' special?
No.
I think he's quite good at that. You can tell he makes jokes about people of different races, but you can tell it's a place of like empathy, almost, or like respect. I think you can tell he like likes the people that he's talking about. At least it's not like he doesn't other them. It's like an inclusive, like, we're all part of like the human fabric. We can all laugh at each other kind of thing, rather than like you are an other and you are there to be laughed at, like, instead of laughed with.
The whole thing with Gervais, I think there's actually a lot of comedians you can say this about now. The whole bit is almost like, oh, they'll try and cancel me for saying this one, and they draw like imaginary lines in the sand that they're then going to cross. And there's one bit in the Ricky Gervais special where he goes, oh, I've just thought of a joke. He clearly obviously hasn't fucking thought of it. It's a bit, but he's like, I've just thought of a joke. Oh no, I'm not going to say that. It's too offensive. I won't say it. Will I say it?
Yikes.
Will I say it? And he does say it. And the joke is essentially like about a pedo trying to bait a Chinese kid with a puppy, but the kid goes, no thanks, I'm not hungry. You know, it's like so you know, the joke is Chinese people eat dogs, right? But with an added layer of like paedophilia in there. And it's like the most tired racial stereotype, right? It's like hackneyed. It's fucking awful. And then the whole time he's going, well, you know, see that line in the sand? Guess who just walked over it?
Oh,
it's me.
Yeah.
He's not mortified.
No, he's not mortified. And then the audience is obviously there like...
Jimmy Carr did it too. Jimmy Carr did...
Oh, yeah.
He did a weird, like, 6 or 7 minute preamble for his Netflix special, where he was explaining to the American audience that he was going to be drawing lines in the sand and then crossing it, and then gave an hour of the most wet flannel content you've ever heard. Like, it wouldn't even have been shocking to an American audience, you know? Like, it was just nothing.
That sucks.
He gave nothing.
There's Jerry Seinfeld has a line about that where he's like, no, it offends me because I'm a comedian. Like, it offends me because the jokes are so bad. It's not because you're being offensive. And I sort of think that increasingly it applies to that. But I don't know, because, you know, simultaneously then I think about, we've mentioned it before, like Finn Taylor, whose comedy he makes insanely offensive jokes. But I find them funny.
Yeah.
He is very funny.
He's great.
But I wonder but surely like being funny can't justify or be cover for making jokes about things like this. Or maybe it is. But for me, something as subjective as a sense of humour can't justify... it's okay to make, you know, jokes about disabled people because it's funny when you do it.
I wonder if it comes down to intent, because you think of someone like... Compare Finn Taylor to, like, Roy Chubby Brown. Someone like... Yeah. Finn Taylor, I think, again, comes from a place of, like, ultimate empathy or, like, inclusive as well as, like, maybe, like, a warped assessment of that it might be, but like Roy Joey Barton it's like an othering thing.
This is going to kill his brand.
Being compared to Roy
Finn
Joey
Taylor
Barton.
is a really inclusive comedian.
No, it's the opposite, Ed. What I want you to say.
But it's like, do you remember?
Maybe he'll put this on the tour flyers.
No, really inclusive. Yeah.
Inclusive.
He submits himself for like some like kind of diversity award.
Yeah.
Ally of the year.
Does not open with disabled joke.
Do you remember Whitmer Thomas?
Yeah.
So Whitmer Thomas, an American comedian, said he was talking about Chappelle doesn't let you bring your phone in to venues in case you record it, and he's like, why? We all know what you're going to say. It's not going to be surprising as you film Chappelle making a joke about trans people. None of it's going to be shocking.
Frank Skinner was on Radio 4 yesterday talking about the Ricky Gervais debacle of free speech, and he was asked, is free speech ruining comedy? And he was just like, well, I haven't wanted to say something yet that I felt I couldn't say, and I'm curious to know what Ricky Gervais would like to say that he feels he can't say. Didn't he just win an award, Ricky Gervais? Yesterday at the Golden Globes?
He got a Golden Globe for
Yeah.
Armageddon, yeah.
Well, that cancellation's
Yeah, I
gone
think so,
well, hasn't it?
For best.
For that?
I think it's for Armageddon, yeah. It might have been Afterlife.
You must get
No,
to...
it would be Armageddon.
Okay, well,
Afterlife was a couple of years ago.
but you see, Afterlife was good.
Really good.
But you must get to a certain point in your career then when they just start handing awards out to you because they'd like you to come to the shows.
Maybe. Do you know how much they get if you win your gift back? It's like $500,000 worth of stuff.
Really?
It's insane. You don't just get a trophy, you get $500,000 worth of products and experiences.
Better fucking win a Golden Globe than
We start entering this to the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
Best short form original series.
£500,000 worth of experiences. What kind of experiences do you think are on offer?
It was like a charter this super yacht for 2 weeks, and then like $90,000 bottle of wine and stuff.
Dave Chappelle and Ricky Gervais will be on the yacht.
Making jokes.
Can't say that.
No.
What category would we win
Limited series. Which, if we end the podcast, then it's a limited series, and then we submit ourselves.
Best Islam jokes?
Oh, that's not a category.
That's what Ricky Gervais won for. No.
Yeah. Best trio. Be up against. What other trios are there?
Something about best support.
For
Getting Reform Party into the polls.
Best stenographers.
most people who know who Reform Party are.
I enjoyed seeing Cillian Murphy with his wife's lipstick all over his face.
Yeah,
It was nice.
good for him.
Yeah. That was ultimate wife guy.
Huge wife guy.
Yeah, cute.
I could...
What?
Sorry.
No, we'll say.
I just imagine that happening to you and you getting really angry about it.
About lipstick. It's a Golden Globe!
It's my first Golden Globe! Fucking respect! It's not about you!
It's a my night!
You always have to make it about you.
Yeah.
Following on from the Ed doesn't like it when other people are ill thing,
Yeah.
you've got like a very... I don't think that you like to be touched
I don't think that's true.
or like
At all.
interfered with.
No.
All right.
Disagree.
Well, there was one event
Okay, yeah. Okay, there's one specific circumstance. Yeah, see, that's fine.
you flinched.
Look how fine he is with this.
Yeah. Right now, listeners,
fairness,
Ollie
it's
is
not a
leaning
natural
across
thing
the
for you to
table
do.
and holding Ed Campbell.
I would say I'm cupping his bicep.
He's cupping his bicep.
I would say I'm interfering with Ed Campbell right now.
Yeah. He doesn't like it.
Interference is not a normal thing. You don't do this often. It's about the first time you've ever done this.
I know, I actually in my head was like, will I do this? I'm not sure I like it.
But I think
You haven't come off yet.
No, I'm keeping it. How long have we got left to go for? Another 20 minutes? I think I can do that.
Yeah, I can do it as well.
That was convincing.
Do you do this? Like, you don't sit touching your friends very often. Apart from when you suck them off.
But not during Ramadan.
Oh, good God.
Corbyn?
Yeah, let's talk about some politics, shall we? Ava, what's going on with Jeremy Corbyn?
The Mail on Sunday reported that Jeremy Corbyn is starting a new party with Laura Pidcock, who used to be a Labour MP. She might still be sitting on the oh God, what's that board called? National
NEC.
Assembly? Was it?
What, the NEC?
No, what was her job
National
there?
Policy Forum?
Momentum?
No, she wasn't doing that. Anyway, that he was starting his new party and that's how he was going to run into the next election. And there was loads of speculation yesterday, like what will happen to the election if this happens? Anyway, so it's apparently not true.
Oh.
Do you believe them when they say that?
I believe it for the time being.
Right.
The theory being, I believe that he probably will or is considering. So he has his Peace and Justice Party, right? That's what his office is there, where this party is, and he does humanitarian work through that organisation. It is not outside the realms of possibility that when it comes to the next election, instead of running as an independent MP, he runs as a Peace and Justice MP, independent from the Labour Party. But see, he wouldn't want to do that now because he's still currently a member of the Labour Party despite not having the Labour whip. So that means he still gets access to all of the CLP, Constituency Labour Party information. The second that you say that you're going to run for another party, you lose your membership. You are expelled from the party. And so he wouldn't want to do it yet. So it's quite possible that he will do this, but just in a few months' time.
But then would that just be him running as a Peace and Justice candidate, or do you think it would be spread out to other constituencies with other candidates?
I think that there is some, there's some talk that, I don't know, I guess he wouldn't run anymore, John McDonnell. I think at one point there was thought that John McDonnell and Diane Abbott and other people who are part of the Socialist Campaign Group, Kate Osborne, those sort of people might link on Kim Johnson. But if they've still got the Labour whip, they wouldn't need to. And they wouldn't want to.
Yeah, because I suppose it's also as well, they're not Starmerites by any means. They've been raised in like the Labour tradition that they know and are part of. So would you want to abandon that for a new thing necessarily? Yeah. Regardless of your loyalty to Corbyn and Corbynism, I think it'd be quite an actually hard sell to current MPs.
It also depends on how far Starmer keeps pushing the curtailment of the Socialist Campaign Group, right? So if he keeps trying to, so anyone who's been very involved in trade unions or has been involved in the socialist wing of the party hasn't been able to get onto the long list during selections up and down the country for the next election. It's been very difficult for them to get on, and you can conspiracy why that might be. It's because Starmer is trying to move the party further away from the far left, right? If they find themselves in a position where they don't think that they can be MPs anymore, or they get deselected, then that would make sense that they would go over to a Peace and Justice Party that has socialist values. But if they can still operate, as they have done for 25 years, under the wing of the Labour Party, why would they bother leaving? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
No, I agree with you. I don't know whether strategically whether it makes a difference for him, whether or not he stands as an independent or under the banner of his Peace and Justice project, because his merit is as a local candidate, isn't it? It's being Jeremy Corbyn, and I think if you're still going to stand in Islington North against the Labour Party and win, it's not because it says Peace and Justice after your name. It's because your name is Jeremy Corbyn. If that counts and carries for much anymore, and I suspect it probably does. But yeah, I think it's a hard ask, to be honest with you, that there would be defections out of the modern day Labour Party, the Parliamentary Labour Party, towards whatever it's called, this new Corbyn project, because, for the first time in 13 years, you're looking at the realistic prospect of Labour government, and I think it would be surprising for them to leave at that moment in time and stay in the political wilderness. Maybe some people would prefer to be in the political wilderness, full stop, and stick to an exact brand of their own politics. But in reality, party politics doesn't work like that, does it? You're never going to find a project that completely accurately reflects your own policy positions. You'll be in a party that has some stuff you do like, some stuff you don't, and I suspect many will take the kind of the long form view, which is that the exact thing that Starmer wants is for you to quit the Labour Party, because that further consolidates his control of the party. He doesn't want you with your socialist politics within there, muddying the waters at party conferences. I mean, his control of sort of most of the party institutions now is pretty solid, but people who for the last 5 years have been leaving the party in their droves. It's like that's what he wants you to do. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want you to be in the party. He doesn't want that brand of politics in the party because it makes his life harder.
Yes, if you're going to achieve a majority, but your majority is diminished by a subsect of the party who aren't going to vote in line with the whip, then there's not really that much point in achieving an overall majority, is there? Mm-hmm. You might as well go into coalition with, say, the One Nation Conservatives, who might share some of your values.
I think it was about retaining your seats under a Peace and Justice Project banner for anyone but Corbyn. I think would be quite difficult.
Absolutely.
Extremely difficult.
Yeah. But I mean, we still don't know. The selection hasn't happened for Islington North, has it? So we don't know who is going to be on the ballot. We don't know who Labour are putting forward. I suspect that's why he is holding off from announcing that he'll run under the Peace and Justice banner, because he's still able to receive all of the literature. You'll know about the selection process. You'll be privy to all of it if you're a member of the Labour Party. But the second that you're out,
they kill you.
Yeah.
They hand you over
they
to
Rose
any
West
local.
you.
Yeah, I think we as this is damning on the rest of the British population, but as some of the more informed people in the British population about British politics, the idea, I think it stretches the idea of credulity that a lot of people, would look at a voting slip and be like, well, John McDonnell is a bad example. Richard Bergen's a good example, right? Someone who, if you're tuned into politics, you're aware of. But let's say he's your constituency MP, and you look down the list and you go, oh, well, Richard Bergen's there, so I'm bloody well going to vote for him, even though he's not associated with the Labour Party, because I love Richard Bergen and I love his politics and what he does, yada, yada. In reality, the vast majority of people, they do not look at the name, and this is not the right way to handle this, by the way, because, in a first past the post system, technically speaking, you should be voting for the candidate. Mm-hmm. But they go, who has Labour next to their name, who has Conservative next to their name, who has Lib Dem next to their name, and that's how they decide their vote, because in reality, they are voting for a party rather than the individual candidate that's going to be representing them for the next parliamentary cycle.
There was a seat where the Liberal Democrats just missed out on winning it because another party was running called the Literal Democrats.
That's good stuff. Quite like that ballot box pranks.
Hijinks.
Absolutely.
I think that would throw me off. Well,
voting for the Lib Dem. That's it.
It's like, in what circumstance would this ever affect you?
Yeah.
Have you ever spoiled your ballot?
Are we talking about?
You don't have to answer the
things like
question
that?
if you don't want to.
I've not. Pick the winner every single time. I've never lost an election or a referendum.
Like the Sun newspaper. Like the Sun newspaper. Whoever Ed Campbell votes for.
Absolutely. I'm the decider. It just keeps happening. I don't know. Seems I'm in charge, guys.
Johnson, 2019. May, 2017.
Yeah.
Brexit, 2016.
There was a period when I was about 18 to about 20, I just voted all the time. Because I had Scottish elections, general elections,
European,
2 referendums, European Council. It was exhausting. I had democracy fatigue.
You've recovered now.
Absolutely. I love voting now because I don't do it very much, or as often as I used to.
We should do like one of those really kitsch sort of pieces that's like dogs of polling stations.
Yeah, we should. That'd be great.
But it's like illegal dogs of polling stations.
Excel bullies.
We put this Excel bully. Oh my god, have you seen
It's a good election day thing.
It's like muzzles.
You
You're
go,
like,
go
oh,
around with an
it's
Excel bully,
trying
trying to get photographers to take photos of you. My dog's really cute. Put it in the photo feature.
Did you see? Scotland haven't banned XL bullies. Now Scotland are like, whoa, stop bringing them up here. There's going to be more XL bully attacks.
But I mean, why didn't they follow on with that legislation?
I think because they thought it was cruel. I think that was the argument.
Well,
It is cruel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is cruel.
It is cruel.
But, you know, now they've got a bit of a problem. Now they're like, oh, shit.
They're not going to reintroduce wolves to Scotland. It's going to be XL bullies roaming
George
roaming
Monbiot.
islands. yeah.
Wringing his hands.
Packs of XL bullies culling the deer.
But now they've
And
got...
toddlers.
Oh, there's been an overpopulation of Scotland that's been sorted.
They've got the cruelest conundrum now on their hands because when England banned them, at least you could go, England and Wales, you could go to Scotland, right?
Mm-hmm.
Scotland, you nowhere to go.
Absolutely.
They're going to have to go into the North Sea.
You've got to send them, put it on like a Viking funeral, just push it out towards Norway.
You put them all on the oil rigs outside Aberdeen.
Oh my God.
It's there. It's there with a flaming bow and arrow. Just fucking let's go.
Absolutely. Alpha Piper it.
And it goes...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a really dark joke that I think you two might have missed.
What did you say?
Did you get that?
I didn't know what you said.
Really Alpha Piper it. Alpha Piper was a oil rig in the 80s that like just had the most awful rig explosion.
That sounds hilarious.
Yeah,
You're right.
hundreds died. Really poor taste from me. But shows
think-
another example of
Yeah, I was
the
about to say
Scottish
that.
ignorance
I was about to say that.
within
Yeah.
the wider British media.
Sorry, so there was an oil rig explosion in Scotland that killed hundreds of people.
yeah, it's I think it's one of the worst in history.
Well, that
the
sounds
80s.
terrible.
It's actually, in fairness, I didn't know about it at all either.
Oh, well, fucking here he is.
Until I was on the
Lecturing us.
Old Firm Facts podcast 3 years ago.
Humble
And
brag.
brag. And not humble, just brag. And the other guest, her dad survived it. And he was a massive
Oh, fucking
he
hell.
was a massive Clyde FC fan. I think it was Clyde. I'm going to say it was Clyde. And he seemingly said, so he was married with children at the time, but seemingly the only motivation he had to keep his head above water was because he thought, I might one day see Clyde lift the European Cup.
I mean, it's funny.
It's so funny.
It's a good
And
gag.
it worked. He survived.
I was going to say, imagine how, like, okay, it will suck to die in the explosion,
Oh, yeah.
but imagine fucking surviving.
But all your friends are dead.
And then you're just in the wreckage of an oil rig
Yeah,
in
it could
the
be-
fucking North
Yeah,
Sea.
and
Burning oil
burnt.
around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, awful.
How long was he in the sea for, do we know?
I think it was like 12 hours maybe. That might be an overstatement, but it was hours.
Because that's the thing, you're at fucking sea as well.
Yeah.
Like,
You would tread water for the North Sea. Like,
There's
surely you'd freeze.
maybe it was in summer. I don't know.
Fucking
No,
Leo
no.
didn't last very long,
fire-
did he?
the fire-
when Rose,
just-
when
not
Rose
like-
West was
there's-
lying on that big door in the Atlantic Ocean, he was gone in minutes.
pushing the children off. No, but there was a big fire. So actually, that would actually probably contribute to not freezing. The heat from that.
no. If you're in the water,
It's a combination.
Cold.
Well, the water probably heated up to a certain.
Lads, jump in, the water's lovely.
you think the sea
It's supposed to be
Heat it up.
Mediterranean right now.
Yeah.
from the rig
Yeah,
explosion.
yes, I do. I'm not doing any reflection on that statement. The sea temperature changed massively.
Genuine question though, like how they survived that long.
Yeah,
He told you.
Yeah, but I don't believe him.
the sea heated up.
I'll look into that after the podcast.
Maybe I imagine there's an. I don't think he was just thrown from the thing.
Was
I
he
imagine
still on the
there
rig?
was a fire, and I imagine there must be evacuation things, and they must be like take this boy or this.
You would have thought they would
Rig-
plan for
life
something
ring.
like that.
You'd hope so.
Yeah, you would have thought.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we end it on the oil disaster?
Nothing about the post office from you once again.
Absolutely.
Your
Sickening
silence
Deafening
is
silence
astounding.
from Ed Davies' son,
Yeah.
Holly Dugmore.
That is the most
Absolutely.
insulting thing you've ever said to me. Okay, well let's talk about the post office thing.
No,
then.
no, no, we don't have
let's
to.
Do it, let's
No,
do it.
please.
How extraordinary is it that Private Eye has been wanging on about this for decades, literal decades, and Westminster has only now perked up because there's been a fucking ITV drama about the thing.
I don't think that's fair. Because if you watch the ITV drama, you'll see that there are many MPs who are integral to the
Nadeem
to the
Zahawi
scandal.
playing himself.
Yes.
That's a mental thing to do.
I quite like that. Sorry.
Zahawi's in
Sorry.
it?
He plays himself.
Yeah. Look at you, private. Oh, I only read private eye. I don't watch linear television.
I hate linear television and dramas.
Wait, you both said you don't watch linear television. So you were just lying. You were pretending to not watch TV because it makes you sound cool, but you both watched this cover to cover.
I actually haven't watched this. I read the Private Eye report.
I actually don't have a TV.
So wait, who are you taking the piss out of then? Me or you?
You, I guess.
But you're the same guy.
I disagree with your sentiment. I think Westminster has been paid attention.
Cop-out.
As they talk about like
it has. You can't say that it's been occupying the same amount of fucking brain space or oxygen that it has for the last week.
No, definitely not. Sorry, I mean, so when you said Westminster, I think.
No, I don't mean it's been ignored.
MPs have. I think some MPs have done very well.
It did take a long time for them to fucking get onto it.
James Arbuthnot, a lord now, isn't he?
Lord Arbuthnot. What an interesting surname as well.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? To get
I like when you learn a new surname.
Yeah.
Like, where's that come from?
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Learned a lot today.
And then,
Fire heats up the sea.
How to pronounce Arbuthnot?
That was a real stab in the dark, and we were just taking your word for it. But then I think I think it's a damning indictment of like journalism, isn't it? That Just Private Eye have done this, and now it's front page across a decades old scandal.
I don't want to be rude, but is this the first you're hearing about the Horizon scandal?
No.
Right. So what are you talking about?
No, but without sounding like a ginormous dick, we are far more involved in and interested in these things than the majority of people. Like, it's not the first time I've heard of it, because I read a lot more papers than most people. I consume far more news media than most people. But the point is, unless you're incredibly plugged in, you're not catching it.
I don't agree with that. But I think what has happened here is that it was on ITV. And I think ITV is the key, right? Because you tap in to the 55 to 75-year-olds in this country, right?
69ers.
Yeah. Women.
They 69 as well, Ed.
And I think
key part.
that's where you're hitting it.
Are they the 6 or the 9?
They're the 9.
They can be both.
There is a reason that prime ministers and leaders of the opposition are desperate to get onto This Morning. And it's because they know they're speaking directly into the homes of England, right? You're not in this, okay? This is not about you.
People also watch.
No, they don't. They don't have TVs. They're still recovering from the oil rig explosion, Ed. Their economy never recovered. They still don't have power.
Their exo-bullies have devastated the televisions in Scotland.
Yeah.
You can't show any signs you're inside your house because they'll burst in and kill you.
Do you know Orwell's Politics of the English Language?
You talked about this very recently.
I did, but it's because the last time I spoke to you, I'd read it that morning.
Oh, okay. Do you know about this? Have you heard?
That is actually pretty much what happened. All right. Anyway, you know when he's in there and he's talking about Middle England, right? Mm-hmm. A man has his letterbox and he has his house and that's his land and that's his kingdom, right? That's the man you're speaking to when you're on ITV. It has more cut through than anyone could ever dream of. So when something like this, the Horizon scandal, is on there, and you've got, I can't remember his name, the guy who played Adam Bates, but he's
Toby Jones.
Yeah, he's the most ITV character of all time, and that girl from Emmerdale was the wife. What's her name?
Toby Jones? I thought he died recently.
No, I don't know who you're thinking of. Toby Jones is very much. Well, even if he is dead, this has been recorded months ago.
Anyway, they just went like.
That's a very good point. Wait, he's alive! Everybody!
Ghost!
He's made that noise 3 times in the podcast because it's the same noise for the woman asleep on the crane.
Both is frightening. Both is absolutely
the apparition
terrifying.
of Toby Jones as an ITV drama. Similarly shocking as waking up at the end of a crane.
Turning it on and off because you think it will kill him. I'm sorry, Toby. Sorry, back to your point, Ava.
I'm just saying, they just went like bullseye.
I think that's kind of the point I'm making, though, is that the scandal is the scandal. It does, and it's kind of, I think it's damning that it required the ITV drama for other news editors to be like, well, this will now lead the programme. You know what I mean? Because it's been on ITV.
Yeah. They did this every year, though, with an ITV drama. They did it with the guy who faked his own death in a canoe. Mm. They did it with the Coughing Major, and everyone talks about the Coughing Major for ages. They kind of
White House Farm. They dramatised those.
Oh my God, White House! We did not stop talking about that for ages,
White House
did we?
Farm.
Yeah.
I've not heard of that.
You don't get it up in Scotland, as we
Sorry.
said. So.
What's a farm?
What is a house?
We're hunter-gatherers still.
Did you know that Ed commutes here every day from Glasgow?
Yeah.
How long does it take you to walk? Fucking hell.
People would get really angry if they thought I flew every day from Glasgow.
Would they be more or less angry about that than the fact that you're Alistair Campbell's son?
Probably more angry about the Alistair Campbell's thing.
Or what about two English people making fun of you for being Scottish? How do you think that
Yeah,
would
that's probably
sit?
not going down brilliantly.
I want to
is it?
be honest with you. Of all the jokes that have been made on this podcast, I don't think it's the anti-Scottish ones that are going to provoke the most uproar. Just a little fair warning to the both of you. I don't think those are the ones that people are going to have a problem with.
What did I say?
You joined in.
With what?
You know what?
Oh, right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The hot sea.
Jet fuel does melt steel beams, but
No, but it does heat the ocean.
Heats the ocean. And then climate change science got really bad. What were you about to? Ava's bailed on a joke, listeners.
Classic.
Absolute fucking coward.
No, I was going to make an 9/11 joke, and I thought I better not.
Yeah.
Is that worse than saying?
Time horizon for that. That's we've discovered the sweet spot. Oscar Pistorius, too soon. Fred and Rose West, okay. 9/11, that's around about the cutoff.
I think 9/11's fine to joke about.
Do you remember 9/11?
No, I don't.
I do. Do you?
Yeah.
We were a couple of years older than me.
My teacher put it on in the classroom.
So, like, that's why. I was.
Your teacher put it on in the classroom. That's insane.
He was like, check this out. Look what's happening in America. Put on the TV.
So he obviously wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
I was 4. I was 4. So
I was
remember
8.
it. How does that work? You're 4 years old.
I was born in 1993.
Okay.
So,
And your birthday's before mine. In the year.
Actually, I would have been 7
Yeah.
because my 8th birthday would have been 2 days later.
What would celebrate?
No. Just say it.
I was laughing at him.
My friend did a postgrad at Columbia, and she came. I was like, she came back. I was like, how was it? She's like, I'm afraid the universities have gotten too woke. And I was like, what were you talking about? And she said, in a lecture in Columbia in New York City, people were like just earnestly talking about how America deserved 9/11, and it was in like an earnest point being made in the tutorial.
That makes total sense because people on TikTok really meant it. They really were defending Osama bin Laden's letters to America.
It's insane.
They really were. They were like, I just sort of love the function of like, do you know when you can like green screen something and then people are speaking in front of it?
Oh, like doing a video essay, and then they're like,
Yeah. And it was literally like a picture of Osama. And you're like, this man, he knew something.
6'5" gamer
Yeah.
murdered by Marines.
Famously, Osama bin Laden was the outdoor gamer.
Would we have Bin Laden on the podcast?
100%.
Yeah,
Open invite.
Absolutely.
Osama, if you ever want to come on,
You watch
the invite's there.
You watch Team America, and the puppet comes up. He's not dead. Oh, another thing that happened to my friend in Colombia was someone had a Halloween party, and someone came as the policeman from the village people. So like assless chaps like thing, and they were asked to leave because they were making light of police brutality.
How far we've fallen.
Absolutely.
Can't even wear assless chaps and not in trouble for it these days.
Yeah, I think physical correctness.
I've dressed up as the policeman from the village people.
Whoa, I think you're going to have to leave the podcast, buddy. Yeah.
Okay. Happy? I think that we've been going for quite some time.
Yeah, we have. Good work, everyone.
Pleased?
Yeah.
Cool.
We're going to have we should have a discussion about the jokes after this. I stand by them.
You can't chicken out this time.
I'm
You've
not.
done that before. You've been funny in here, and then you've gone upstairs and chickened out. What?
Look who's talking.
What have I done?
Yeah, you've also cut stuff. We've all cut stuff.
What have I cut?
I don't want to say now.
No, come on.
You
do
laughed
it.
at something you shouldn't have laughed at in the last episode. Do you remember?
I don't remember that.
Did you cut that out? I wasn't.
You asked me to cut it out.
No, I wasn't being serious.
Oh.
I really wasn't. I really wasn't.
Come on.
Put it out right now. Put it out right fucking now.
I've got another one.
Yeah.
One time when it was just you and me, you said something about... you said...
We're just going to have to cut it out again.
I know.
We're at the end now, so it's easy, isn't it?
and it was cut out.
We're cutting that out. We're cutting that out.
Yeah.
Shall I close it off?
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening to the Politics Joe podcast. We'll catch you on the next one. See you in the subreddit. Goodbye.